How are you, my friend? How was California?
Warm.
It's warm here too, but like I've been in my apartment. I walked all of Arlington today. I think I walked like 7 miles.
That is an easy place to get lost in.
It was heavy. It was heavy. I
I
cried. Like,
cry every time I'm there.
yeah, I cried. All the families in section 60 is where Dave Wisniewski's buried, and he was like my best friend in Kadena, and I always go back to his grave. And I had a hat on, and I threw it down on his grave. Nobody knows this was my hat, but
Yeah,
it was heavy. Ugh.
that is that it is. There are times that I'm there when even if I don't make it to visiting friends, that I'm just overwhelmed by the emotion of being there, knowing that we know people there.
And it makes me mad, and I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway, that there are people that are there on that are tourists. They're touring. All these people
I know.
sacrifice our country, and they're touring it, and it just, God, it was heavy.
Yeah. But if they tour it knowing the magnitude and the heaviness of it in their hearts, that part I'm okay with.
But like, there was like a chick who had like a cicada on her back, and she's like screaming about like a cicada, and she's like, oh, and like her friends are laughing at her, and I'm like,
Not here.
oh my God, like, do you know what it feels like to take a bullet? Do you know what it feels like to be in that situation? A cicada? Like,
Yeah. I know. It's sometimes the inconsiderateness of the
yeah,
I can't even find the right word. It's the I don't even know how I would approach somebody to say, do you understand where you are?
yeah,
The magnitude of where you are and what it means to be here. That there are family members and friends and neighbors and acquaintances coming to see people here. What that means.
yeah. I was so upset when I saw that. It got me so mad.
It's heavy.
No, it was a big day. It was a big day. I've and I don't know why I didn't plan it before. Like I think I was just like trying to like plan for some other things or whatever, and
Mhm.
schedule was freed up, and I went and I walked to it because I can, and ugh,
My best trips there are all the unplanned ones. I had a trip where when I was stationed in Germany, and my flight got delayed 4 hours leaving out of National. So I got back on the metro and went to Arlington
that's the ride.
and just walked, and it's overwhelming every time I'm there.
All of the gravestones, like,
It's overwhelming.
yeah, yeah. So here we are, Memorial Day. It's been about what,
Yeah.
2 months we recorded, I think.
Yeah, and today, let's see what else I do today. Speaking of, things to do on Memorial Day, the Women in Aviation is doing a campaign. They do it every year, and I think they do it all year. But Honor the Wasp.
Yes.
So today I looked up on the registry and found that there is a wasp named Floribel Reese that is buried in the Lancaster
Oh,
Cemetery.
cool.
So I went and visited and remembered that I met her in 2014. I flew out here to visit a friend of mine, Jessica, who was stationed at Edwards, and went to her Antelope Valley 99s. They had this big poker run event where they were flying around to different airports for it instead of, riding motorcycles or bikes.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And I met Floribel.
Wow.
That was in April of 2014, and she died December of 2014. So it's also just, a day to remember friends and men and women we worked with and others, and also to honor the wasp.
Yeah, those are the two pictures I have in the background now. Are those are two wasp pictures? So I'll probably tag the artists in this. I've tried reaching out to him a couple times, but he hasn't responded. So maybe if I tag him in our podcast, and
Maybe. I'd like to know what they are, because that'd be, now that I've settled down into a house,
Yeah,
another reason. How long has it been since we recorded? I think you said 2 months.
I think it's probably 2 months.
We've both moved.
Yes. Yeah.
Started-
Well, I was already in DC, but I think the last time, like one of the few times we recorded in the last year or whatever in 2021, I was still in boxes.
You were still in boxes, and now you're set up in your office.
Yes.
I'm in Palmdale, California.
I love it. I need to come visit.
Yes, you do. Working for NASA now.
NASA.
Ooh.
One of the
And
only one of two female pilots in NASA, right?
2 at NASA Armstrong right now.
Not to like blow your ego up or anything, but that's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal.
Speaking of which, the other one, Liz Ruth, we recorded a podcast with that finally released.
Did it release? I haven't
So,
seen it come through yet.
well, it's probably not through yet because it's
All right.
it's getting there. I wanted 2 more pictures to add to it that I had just sent out,
Cool.
but Matt's got the stuff, so super excited to see that out, and I get to fly with Liz now.
Oh,
First, we interviewed her and talked about her amazing career,
Yeah.
and now I get to work with her. So,
yeah.
fangirling a little bit sometimes at work. It's okay.
And then we've been on talks. We've been featured in Moody Air Force Base for some of their stuff. I mean, a lot of good things happening from
Good things, and something huge coming up. I'm going to brag on you a little bit. Where are you going?
Miami.
Miami.
We were recording for 4 days on a
Excellent.
thing. It was called the Social Movement. They've changed the name to 4 Days to Save the World.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident I can do. Just saying.
Sure.
Not to like be super like important or anything, but I'm pretty sure I could do it. So.
I'm pretty sure you're going to offer some insights and angles and points of view that wouldn't normally be brought to the table. So
I think so. With other people that are like-minded that offer ideas and points of view that normally are not brought. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
Right, because you're all from different backgrounds.
Oh my gosh. Like there's another helicopter pilot, but she's from England. She's English with a 6-year-old. So just amazing. Just an amazing opportunity. It's going to be great. I can't wait to network. Yeah, like I sent you the picture of like my wardrobe and what I'm planning to wear, and then I've got my card set up, which I copied yours. So thank you for the card.
Absolutely. I wanted to send it just kind of like maybe this will work, and if she likes it, we'll stick with it. And now I'll just order more.
I like it. I don't know why I don't have it right now with me to like show as like a prop, like, hey, this is our new card.
I've got, but yes, I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait because their first season is airing now, correct?
Labor Day.
So we got to wait a little while longer.
Yeah, April is when mine will air. Supposedly.
It's gonna be great. I look forward to seeing the problems you guys all work on and solve.
And then a book. There's another book opportunity I haven't told you about yet. We're gonna be part of. So 2 book opportunities that we're gonna be co-writing, and then a radio show possibly. So we got some things in the fire.
We got some things out there to be doing. Some events, some mentoring of young girl events coming up too.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and our two girls that we primarily mentor have been accepted to the Naval Academy and the Coast Guard Academy. So
it's great. And I just had the opportunity to talk to another young girl. I shouldn't say young girl. I mean, she's a young woman. She, we discussed a lot that why does it have to be an or? Yeah. I want to be a mother or a pilot, or I wanted to be a doctor, right, or maybe an engineer. Why does it have to be an or?
Never.
Never has to be. So I can be a doctor and a pilot. I got to meet a young woman who has figured out that it can be an and she tracks, using, Google searches and social media. So I got a chance to talk to her. She wants to be a NASA research pilot because she is a pilot. She comes from a long line of pilots. Her dad, her husband, her brother, and she was interested in being a NASA research pilot, but she was concerned not having a military background she was searching everyone's bios and saw that most of us had been in the military. And I'm like, nope. She started explaining she wanted to be a doctor, and then she went and took flying lessons to improve her resume for applying to med school and fell in love with it.
Wow. She took flying lessons to improve her wanting to be a med.
Well, she looked at it, you're trying to you're looking for ways to set your application to med school.
Oh, part.
So she thought private pilot. That'll set me apart from the others, and she fell in love with it. So now she's a pilot, but now she's going back to the medical part. So she is starting an internship tomorrow with NASA.
Cool.
And she was is it sounded super complicated. So when she was trying to explain it to me, I'm like, listen, your military lack of military background, I wouldn't worry about
Yeah.
it.
You got it. You got this.
You need a technical degree? Sounds like you got it. You need the brains to do it? You're doing an internship with NASA starting on Tuesday. You got it. You're a pilot? You got it.
Isn't
So,
it kind of interesting? So this is something that I've noticed with young girls, and I don't mean to like reduce people's motivation to do things, but I feel like a lot of women and young women feel as though they have to compensate for their gender by doing more
doing more.
and overachieving just to feel competitive. And you know, the men that I work with, like, bless their hearts, they're not that great. They're not even close. They're not even in the same league. And a lot of the times when I'm interviewing for like the Air Force Academy or the Naval Academy and part of those panels, I'm like, these young men come in with like really interesting resumes that are not special at all. And these girls come in like they're just on blast of how many things are crazy things. I just feel like we're overcompensating for some reason.
I would love for us to sit down. Her name is Katie. To sit down and chat with her because to chat with her more. I'd like to keep, mentoring her. She doesn't lack for drive and ambition, but she still has that. I told him, like, you have to stop reading people's bios because that's the end product. We don't put all of the failures along with the success in our biographies. So I think that also contributes to it. We look at the end product, we think we need to compensate for some reason for our gender, so we compensate by doing more, and then we still feel like it's not enough.
And these girls are doing so much and they're working so hard and they're not getting the credit for it. Like, oh my gosh, just stop working so hard, please, because you're not getting the credit for it. You're only getting a credit for like being a woman that does all these things. That's it. It's not actual recognition. Stop working so hard, please.
Yeah.
And I think somebody like
the wind right now. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not that. It was really not that distracting. But like I was talking to somebody who was he's going to be influential. He's probably going to be up in the upper ranks. Like he's coming up a couple of years ago, and he's like, Jen, how do we fix the diversity problem in the Air Force? And I was like, you got to accept that we're going to have mediocre women. Like you just have got to get to the point where we're like, yes, there are going to be mediocre women, just like there are mediocre men. Like hold us to the same standard. Unfortunately, women are not willing to like be mediocre. They don't think they can do it, and so.
I think it's often, I look at when I first started my job in North Carolina flying, I thought, if I fail at this, are they going to keep inviting women to compete for and do these jobs?
Right.
I wonder how many of the guys I worked with asked themselves that same question. Probably none of them. Probably they what they thought of was they personally didn't want to fail because they wanted to be really good at their job. They weren't thinking they're never going to ask somebody that looks like me to do it again.
Or they were just having fun. That's right. Like, it's just fun. It's just fun. That's it.
And 10 years later, maturity, I don't think that way anymore. But how do we get younger people there sooner?
Yeah.
How do we keep saying it's okay, it's got to be okay to fail, but it's not that we just have to teach them it's okay to fail. It's the surrounding group, the mechanism, the leadership, all of it has to understand that, like you said, we have to be willing to accept mediocre women.
That is how we know a true equality has been achieved. Nothing less than that of like just mediocre.
Fill in the blank. Mediocre, whatever non-white male category, we have to be willing to accept that. And then we will increase diversity.
Let's look at like my recent friendship that I had. Like he super happy just to be there. He was just super happy to be there. He was excited. It was fun, but no consequences to like whatever he was doing. It was just because he was happy to be there. So and that's just the thing. That's for women to like really take in, and I'm really digesting that right now. Like we got to get women to be able to just be like, this is just fun for me. This is why I'm here. It's just fun. I have nothing else, no other equities in this. I don't care about like furthering my gender. I don't care about anything else, but just like, this is a really fun thing for me to do. And I'm grateful that I have like a support system that's good. You know what? They don't even have to be grateful. They just have a support system that's set up. And that's the other part of it, right? Like is that you've got, these women have to have men in their lives that are just totally good with like being the support system.
Oh, you just brought up another great conversation I just had. I won't use her name because obviously this popped into my head again. We were discussing the difference in the comprehension of the roles on that support system.
Hmm.
So she was recognizing now that she's the one working full time and her husband's the one that's home full time. He thinks it's comparable to when, and all their kids are grown up and moved out. He thinks it's comparable to when she was home full time. He was working full time.
Cute.
She's like, no, no,
Cute.
no.
Cute.
That's not, no.
Well, like I watched a movie the other night called Nobody, which I recommend. It's expensive to rent. I don't know why I rented it for $20, but whatever, is a recommendation from a friend. And all the first 30 minutes is about this guy who was like, you can tell he was like an assassin or something very important in like special operations fields or whatever. And now he's at home cooking, and that was his choice, was to cook and take care of the family. But you could tell he just felt like he was not contributing to his family any longer. It's like,
you are.
how do you, and I got really upset, and I wrote my friend who recommended it. I'm like, I can't watch this. I can't watch this bullshit. Like, I just cannot watch this crap, because I feel like it's again comparing the gender roles in a family and saying that being at home is not important, and it really is bothering me. And he's like,
Yes.
oh, just be entertained, Jen. I'm like, okay, I'll try. I'll watch it. And I did. And yes, it turned out to be fine. But at the same time, like, why is that got to be the premise that whoever's at home is the less important person?
Right. Or whoever is at home, which the movie was kind of showing, is not contributing as much, whether it be to the family or to society, or what. Why is that? I mean, think of that whole construct. Why did we start the Nooooo project? Have those conversations of why is that the perception? And it's almost, you find that if some of the guys that I've worked with, if it was something that a girl could be good at too, they didn't want to do it anymore either.
If it's something that a girl would excel at, not
or normally be like a woman's role. Even if they could be good at it, they didn't want to do it because they somehow in their mind had this, whether it was overtly or just this, unconscious bias, to use that term, of assuming that, well, if it's a woman's role, then it's not something I want to do because that's not as good as something I can do well. So like, well, I can fly an airplane well, so you not want to fly anymore?
Right.
I'm confused by that.
Right. And then, and so there's also like, and I love quoting this article that came out in Cosmopolitan a couple years ago, where they interviewed a bunch of high school seniors, and men and women, and they asked them who would be like, they asked each of them individually if they would be willing to do household chores. And the men, the boys, the high school students that were boys, responded that no, they were not willing to do household chores. The conclusion of the article, or the conclusion of the research, was that then women were obviously going to be the people that took up that chore. And I was so mad about it. Like, why is that the conclusion? Like, you're just, so these guys are just going to live in filth. And why would a girl even be attracted to that? Like, that is really the conclusion that we should come to, not that, oh, well, because men are going to do it, women are going to do it.
Yeah, the conclusion isn't obviously a woman's going to come in and do it for him. It's going to be, well, good luck finding someone who wants to live in your filth and tolerate your inability to do any sort of household chores. No, that's not a conclusion.
And I've learned over the years, right? Like, I'm a single girl, been single for a while, but I've learned how to like get these guys that I date to like do my dishes and take out my trash and put my dishes in the like. I just claim an aptitude. I just can't do it. My brain is way too busy doing other bigger things. I can't do it.
I'm doing big girl things. I can't figure that out.
I can't spend time washing my dishes.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. I gotta start playing that.
I feel like a lot more women should, like, just because it's logical to them. Their logic. I'm doing way more important things. I can't take time to cook or do the dishes. Well,
I was reading a thread somewhere on social media, which I sometimes, yes, I'll admit, I let it suck me in, but I won't respond. Like, I'll read it and I'll get mad and I'll write down a response to my notebook, but I will not engage. And I know, maybe my nieces would say that I'm just letting that bad information stay out there. But I'm like, you know what? If somebody's going to write stuff like that, the thread I was reading was, how do I respond to somebody who hears a female voice on the radio while flying?
Oh, I think I saw this one, and they respond with like another kitchen.
Another empty kitchen. And some of the responses, it was fun to read because it was more entertaining for all of us that were reading them and typing them and absorbing them. Like, it's not empty, my husband's in it.
Yeah.
Or, I think I was married to someone like you once.
Yeah.
Kind of things. And it was funny, but I didn't engage in it from the origination, like the people that would say something like that, because that's not somebody I'm going to convince with any of my points, anything I try to make, because
I think I would just respond, cool.
I guess so.
Or mark the tapes.
Yeah.
Mark the tapes.
It's like, oh, I guess so. I guess you're right.
All time. I've had a meow on, like, when I was in Afghanistan. Somebody went meow when I went. I was like, that's a special forces dude who just doesn't have anything else to do.
That's boredom.
Yeah, boredom.
Yeah, that would be something. Somebody would say another empty kitchen might be somebody else that also meows on guard.
Yeah. It almost makes me want to, and this is totally terrible for our podcast. I probably should never say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, it'd be something like for us girls to, if there's a guy that comes on the radio, any guy, anytime, just say, I have a small penis.
So what is the gender equivalent to another empty kitchen? I wonder what is that? What would be? I don't know.
Another kid without a dad? That's tough, right? Like, that goes right in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Another kid without a father figure? I think that would be probably.
Well, kind of goes the way, think of it the opposite way. How many, like my brother-in-law, when he is doing stuff, taking his teenage daughters somewhere, participating, people are like, oh wow, that's just so great that you're here and you can do this. And it kind of irks him a little bit because he's like, what, you mean being a dad? So it kind of goes that other way of, we're expected to do all of that, yet he's not expected. Yep. And in some ways it's like, why are you patronizing me for being here at my daughter's high school volleyball tournament?
Right, like, you should expect me here.
You should expect me to be here. I'm an engaged parent too. My wife isn't the only one that can be an engaged parent. So those gender roles and the expectations and the parts that are good and bad about them go both ways.
I know, it's complex. It's totally complex. I think there was somebody who was talking about the same thing, like with this. A girlfriend of mine was talking about her husband was saying, well, when I'm going to babysit the kids tonight, and she's like, what do you mean you're going to babysit the kids tonight? Like, you are their dad, right? He's like, well, I'm babysitting. She's like, is that what it's called when I'm doing it? He's like, no, you're the mother.
Oh, guess what? You're the father. It's not babysitting. It's called parenting. So what else have we been up to?
I missed your face bone.
I know.
So much stuff, girl. So much stuff. I mean,
branding, where you have that pushed out there.
I know. We gotta get a new poster here, right?
I wrote that down. We have to get that up there. We, if you go to our website, we've got some of that up there. We've got some new swag with our new branding.
Yeah.
We'll start adding new partnerships that we're excited about.
So excited. I really, I mean, if anybody's listening to this, like, you guys should just like follow and get connected and reach out. Like, it's so amazing. And I get almost an email a day, I think, nowadays. I don't know about you, Carrie, but I think you do too. Like, almost an email a day from some young woman who's like, you have changed my life. Like, just what you said today at XYZ event.
I'm super grateful for all of the events we've been invited to speak at, because I know we don't know everything, and we've got different backgrounds, and you and I are two completely different personalities. And I think I shouldn't say completely different, but I think it's good to be able to show things like that. And I think it's good to get the perspectives. Yeah. And one thing we definitely have in common is we're not afraid to answer questions, because we're not going to be concerned about whether it's the right or wrong answer, because it's our answer. The truth is, it's all right. All of them are correct, and somebody out there is going to hear their their correct or their
That's
right answer, and continue to move forward. That's stuff that we felt like we didn't get to hear enough of when we were younger. So I say we stop being concerned about, well, this probably was, because we probably say some things that made people go, what? They just say that on their podcast?
Relatively certain we have.
And I will never lie to you or hide from you. We will just be brutally honest. What you see is what you get. And we also accept that we will make mistakes and we have some failures, and
it's the best part of life. It's the best part of life.
Yeah, we'll share that part too.
Yeah.
That we've done that. So part of that is, we're going through that rebranding with our nonprofit to show and embrace and share and get our message out there. So
yeah,
that's part of it. Got to be okay with failing, saying the wrong thing, saying the right thing that maybe feels difficult.
I don't feel comfortable saying out loud. May not feel comfortable coming out of my mouth, but you know what? Sometimes somebody just needs.
Because it's uncomfortable hearing it doesn't mean it wasn't right. You know?
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to having more of those discussions. I'm excited. There's a few people I'd like to add to our list to interview.
Okay.
And if anyone listening has folks that you think could contribute to our message and stories, please send us their names. We'd love to get them on here and talk to them and have them share their path, their story, their advice.
And possibly we could be connected with Russell Brand. I mean, that's a big leap, Russell Brand, but something we're trying for. Old Wonder Woman, right? Gal Gadot right here.
Imagine that conversation.
I mean, just given his last podcast, so yeah, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Fun,
oh my goodness.
Fun. All right, girl. Well, I'm going to close out. I got to go cook dinner. I know you got things to do.
Excited to catch everybody up with what we've been doing and start looking for our next string of podcasts now that we're back at it and ready to go.
Back up.
And Jen, we will be interviewing you when you come back and you're cleared to be able to discuss what you've been up to in the month of June. So like and share, everybody. Help us get our message out there.
Thank you.